because I watched her do it, so.
I only know because I watched him.
We now have the bell, and it is 9 a.m., and I'd like to thank everybody for being here this morning. Thank you to our Madam Secretary for doing all the minutes and everything. It was a great job, and I appreciate that very much. If everybody, we've all silenced our phones, so that won't be an issue, and anybody in the audience, if you would do the same, thank you. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And to begin, I would like to have us all stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Father, thank you for I just pray you would bless this all the people in Ukraine. In mind today and
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. This is our first part of our public comment period. Anybody who wishes to come up and can come to the podium and speak if they wish. Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion.
Okay, Ms. McDuffie makes the addition, makes the motion, and Mr. Nathan, he seconded. All right, do I have a motion for approval of the minutes from March 14th? Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And Mr. Kaufman seconds it. Okay. That leads us to old business, and Mr. Perkins, I believe that puts you up.
Thanks, sir. So, at the last meeting, our first meeting, we talked about potential future events, and we kind of landed on the idea of a First Friday type of event. I've done some more research into what other DDAs are doing, and there's a lot of DDAs that do First Fridays. I'm sure you all have looked as well. And they're generally pretty simple affairs. Now, cities that have more of a traditional downtown, like a square or a linear downtown, they will have their local vendors stay open later. Some of their vendors will offer a discount for that night. And they have, they'll have live music, and they'll have grab takeout or something from a local restaurant. We don't have all of that, but I think what we can do is a couple of food trucks, some live music, or we could alternate. And I know what I'm asking you to, what we're talking about today is probably just one or two events for this coming year, but in the prettier months of the year, you could do one First Friday, you could do music and food trucks. On another First Friday, we could do a movie. Done that before. The town has sponsored, and they've done well. And then the next one, you could have music again. Somebody even suggested at one point a comedian. If you could find a family-friendly comedian, I don't know. I don't know what market is there for that, but the only comedians I've ever seen are on TV or at a comedy club, and they're generally not somebody you'd put out on the public square. But it's not to say that they're not there. So my point is, we need to be thinking outside the box going forward. But my suggestion is that we plan for June 3rd, July 1st, August 5th, and September 2nd. The reason I'm leaving May out is simply because, number one, timing, but also there is a town event in May. It's another Shamrock Market type event that's taking place of the St. Patrick's Day event that we had to cancel. So there is an event in May. So doing it on July 3rd the first one, July 1st, August 5th, and September 2nd, would give us plenty of time to get that first one planned. Like I said, it could be a simple affair. My thought is to get a band, invite a couple of food trucks to come out. We advertise it well. If some of the downtown businesses want to have a presence at the park for that event, perfectly fine. I think we do it at no charge to the local vendors, or the downtown folks. As things grow, if we want to turn it into more of a Tyrone's version of night market, then we would certainly charge outside vendors to come in and have a presence. But I think downtown businesses, because our job is to try to promote downtown, you let those downtown businesses have a presence there. So that's basically what I've got. There was some concern with it. We don't want to conflict with night market. I've included the dates for night market. Were completely opposite. In fact, they're only having 4 night markets that I can tell. One's coming up this weekend, June 17th, August 19th, and October 21st. So it doesn't like we're conflicting, at least with Peachtree City. So to reiterate, my recommendation is setting first Fridays for June 3rd, July 1, August 5th, and September 2nd. One of our next items will talk about funding for that event.
And I'll add just for the event itself, like branding for the event, the market coming up in the spring, the Recreation's just advertised it as Spring Market. So the Shamrock Market brand, if you will, name, that's up for grabs if you want to do First Friday Shamrock Market. It's we've already had one. It's very well attended, so it's already kind of got a little bit of a notoriety with it. And it's kind of like the alternative to night market. It's got that kind of, flow to it. So Shamrock Market as a brand for those events, if you want that, it's up for grabs. But if you just want to title it something different, if you want to just call it First Friday Markets or what have you, we can do that.
I did have, somebody had suggested to me that we could have, at some time in the future, as far as fundraising and having other activities, would be having a community garage sale around Shamrock Park. I think we've done that somewhere in the past, and we would probably charge those vendors that are having tables there a fee of $10 or $20 each to have it there. Also, I've spoken to 1 or 2 people regarding a car show where they'd be able to bring the cars down to Shamrock Park and we can have a car show to bring people down. I've also spoken with Matt Griffin about having a wrestling night and being, in support of the DDA, like they've done for because most of his stuff is charitable that he does. So that was it. And I think one of the things that I also thought of is during the school year, we could probably utilize Sandy Creek High School, their music department, as far as featuring either their jazz or their chorus or something, and utilize them as entertainment. And I think that would bring out, some of the people that we'd like to see out there and the parents and families of such in order to do that. So I thought maybe, obviously we're getting near the end of the school year and they're going to be out of school by the time we do our June activity. So, right, they are out of school by
Yeah,
then,
they'll
right?
be out of
The end
school,
May?
but August, September, that time frame, we might be able to
Exactly.
fit them in there.
Yeah.
August for sure.
Yeah.
September's back, well, no. When do they go back?
I think they go back in August, right?
End of August.
But it might be hard. They may not have material ready by August, but September,
In
certainly.
September or October, we might be
Yeah.
able to utilize them, which
And
is
then
fine.
Next year, if we do it in May, that'd be towards the end of their season, but that'd be kind of like a last hurrah for them if they wanted to do jazz band or something.
And they may have some ideas as what they'd like to do that would be, something that they could present. And we can utilize them and we can feature them. And I think that would be nice. And during the whole thing, I'd like to, if we could start, when we start doing this, just kind of adding in all the businesses that we do have in our downtown area and just roughly doing, we got about 40 businesses that are down in this area here. That would include the ones on Howell, which I don't know all the names of there, other than some guy named Reese has a business over there. But,
Downtown businesses.
He's,
We don't have it split out yet, but we do have
No,
it down, we have
Gonna
it
work on
business,
that?
yeah.
but, I thought, you know, by incorporating them with our advertising and even having a section to advertise for them, that may hopefully draw them into, you know, become partnering up with us, you know, so that we can utilize them. So we'll see how that would work.
Can we, is this time to riff on ideas, that type of thing? Can we use one of the, I guess it's the speed marker or the,
Sign trailers?
out there on 74, maybe the week of, and
It's a
just tell
town
people,
event, we'll
hey,
get it done.
Friday night, we're gonna have such and such
Yeah,
here
we'll-
downtown?
We'll use that, we'll put it on the email blast, we'll put it on, social media. Once you all decide on branding and stuff,
Yeah,
I'll get the
that's-
DDA's Facebook page going and we'll have all those avenues. One other idea that was discussed among staff, since the last meeting, and I told Mr. Campbell about it. You know, we've had pretty bad luck with the town's attempt to try to do a St. Patrick's Day event. We've tried for 3 years. First year it was bitter cold. The second year, I think it rained, and then last year, or this year, I think we had to cancel.
Wind.
because
Cold
of
and
weather,
rain.
too. Yeah, so, you know, given Tyrone's heritage, I think it's important to try to do something for that, but, you know, instead of a formal event at the park with people and setting up, the idea was thrown out there that we could do a St. Patrick's 5K color run, do the green powder. People love a 5K, and a 5K, I mean, you set it up, people come out, it's early in the morning, shut the streets down for an hour, people do their run, they're in and out. But you charge an entry fee.
Yep.
That is revenue for the DDA, and it's also getting people downtown. You know, so that's just an idea, since we're throwing out ideas. Obviously, the thing on the agenda for you to vote on is the first Fridays for now. But it is good to have these discussions for, going forward, so that we know as staff what to work on and what your thoughts and ideas are.
It'd be nice to have that directory
Yeah.
done up, and maybe we could do a golf cart scavenger hunt or something like that, where you take the people to the businesses. I mean, there's people that don't even know where the rec center is. You know, get them over there to do something, and, you know, Rebecca can hand them something when they show up, and, okay, hey, you got your, whatever, this shamrock from here, or go wherever and check out everybody's business, get a straw from Partners, sorry. Yeah, you know, or whatever. Yeah, just
not a plastic one.
yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are bad.
yeah, not plastic, yeah. So, but that's just another idea.
I wanted to just add, that Point University has a string quartet. And they play, there's 2 different sets they'll play. No, like, Christian music, all just like, one is kind of a jazz set, and it lasts like an hour and a half or 2. And they're free, and we had them come last summer, in the middle of summer. So if we wanted a summer thing, it's really pretty fun.
Yeah, it
Really
was.
saw them.
It was Point University.
The other thing I was thinking is we have July 1st and September 2nd as possible First Fridays. Those are both like, July 1st could be like 4th of July-ish.
Right.
Maybe there's fireworks, you know. And then if we themed them, then people were looking, oh, there's that July one coming.
Right.
And then the September one could be like a harvest. Bells
Yeah.
and
Well, what's the city
petting
doing
zoo
for
and,
Fourth
you
of
know.
July this year? We doing fireworks?
We typically don't try to compete with Peachtree City, so we typically have not ever done anything for 4th of July. Just because we have found that Peachtree City's event draws people from the entire region, that it just wouldn't be, in my opinion, prudent to try to do anything. But if you're doing the Friday before 4th of July, for those people that are in town, we don't even typically have our first council meeting in the first week of July because people are out of town and all that kind of stuff. But
It's a
if you,
holiday weekend.
yeah, but if you themed it, you're right. There are still people in town. And those people who are in town and have kids, they're gonna want something to do. And so you could do a patriotic theme first Friday. That could be a movie, and you could do a patriotic movie of some sort that's family appropriate, of course. Yeah, and then in September, you could do when you first said harvest and all that, I remember as a kid going to, because I grew up in Fairburn, they used to shut the streets down in front of the old Campbell County Courthouse for their homecoming in September, and they would do like a true street dance, like country music, street dance. You know, I mean, you could do something like that, you know.
That would be fun.
Just to get, I mean, the whole idea is to get people in town and having fun and enjoying their town and their neighbors. So,
On the July event, I know fireworks can get very expensive. You know, and something that, and you said you don't want to compete with Peachtree City necessarily, but I just want to throw that out there. You know, it sounds like something that it wouldn't necessarily compete with Peachtree City if we do it on a Friday, July 1st. You know, if we were trying to incorporate fireworks, you know, it's going to get pretty costly, you know, for save money or raise money. You know, what are y'all's thoughts on that? I mean, are y'all considering fireworks?
not for 4th of July.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about a minimum of $5,000.
Yeah.
Plus, you gotta have pretty much all hands on deck with our law enforcement, just to keep it safe, block it off.
Fire department.
Yeah, it's a big deal to
Yeah.
do fireworks.
I thought
no
y'all were maybe
fireworks.
throwing that out there since
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that.
It could be like sparklers for the kids and glowy bracelets, and it could feel
Yeah.
thematic without the fireworks.
And in terms of revenue, you know, a lot of events, if there are vendors there and they're not downtown vendors, there would be a fee charged with that. There's certain events that lend themselves to maybe a small admission for people, like maybe a movie night is like $1 or something. And then a lot of other communities will have sponsors for an event with kind of like exclusive advertising, and then they would maybe pay some things like that to be a sponsor and advertising at the event too. So just some extra ideas on revenue generation, since that's also a component.
Yeah, because that's what I was trying to figure out. How do these events generate revenue? If you got a band, that's $400, I would think minimum. How many vendors does it take to cover that 400? So I was trying to figure out, we just trying to get our name out there? Are we trying to make money with these events? Both?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
I don't know that I won't say that. It'll take some time, but you'll eventually get to where it pays for itself at least. And then I think if you don't do it extravagant, you should make a little bit of income, so, Philip's right. If you like Shamrock Market, if we start incorporating that in the first Friday, say in, our second one or third one, if you had 30 or 40 vendors paying you a pretty significant amount, not a huge amount, but it'll take some time for them to trust it, right? So they gotta get to a point where they say, okay, Tyrone's first Friday, that's a place to be. They're gonna kick the tire the first time. They're gonna pay $25 to come in and give it a shot. But if they don't do anything, they're not coming back. So we gotta be real careful there and build it up. But I think like the simple event, like the first Friday, that isn't necessarily geared towards revenue, in my opinion. It's more of a get people downtown. It's supporting your local businesses and just getting people out. It gives you all an opportunity and our elected officials an opportunity to be there to talk to citizens.
Some exposure.
Right, but also it gives, downtown restaurants the opportunity to have people close by. And you could have somebody at the park saying, hey, we're just right here if you want to grab something and bring it down, we're right here if you want to, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I think, there's a lot of DDAs that are very successful with their events and raising money. But at the end of the day, with us being a governmental entity, and this is just me, I'm programmed this way because I've worked for the government since I was 18, but it's not always about the money. It's more about the experience and getting people there. And yeah, it's about getting the DDA name out there, but it's also about just getting people downtown. You might luck up and, you start drawing people from the region that have never been to, they think downtown Tyrone is Publix, because they just drive through 74. But if you get people to Shamrock Park, they're gonna say, oh, this is a cool little town. You know, and as the town builds up over the years and more things come in and we're more successful, then it becomes kind of a destination.
A lot of people in Fayetteville, Coweta, that have no idea what downtown Tyrone is.
Right, right,
There's a lot of
Like, I'm
Tyronians
downtown,
don't.
but, huh, where's that?
yeah.
A lot of Tyronians
Yeah,
don't
so
know where
I
downtown
would think
is.
that's the priority, yes, to get people downtown.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, and like night market itself is actually a private business. Like it's not Peachtree City. Night market is its own independent private business entity, and they make money. That's how they make money. And so once the events become significant enough, they're consistent, they're well, advertised, the branding is consistent, and vendors know that they can make money on those events, and that they're well attended. Then that's when your food trucks start paying you a commission on what they're making. That's when the cost for a tent goes from maybe $20 to night market, I think, is $175 sometimes. So it's, that kind of consistency gets you the ability to have events that then actually generate pretty significant revenue.
With all of our advertising, and as we go open up a little bit more, do we need to, I think we should, have a mission statement of some sort? Because people are gonna ask, what is the DDA and what is the purpose that goes beyond that?
we'll work on that and have something
And
for
so
the
that
next
we're
meeting.
unified in how we're answering, it might be, a good thing to create some sort of a mission statement out there.
I wrote down 7 R's yesterday.
Oh.
And here they are: reclaim, restore, renovate, revitalize, recreate, reinvest, relax.
Can you email that?
Yeah. Yeah, that is very good.
It's
Pretty
all
good.
recorded.
Yeah, it is, it is, you're right. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, we'll take that, and then we'll also work, that might be a separate, we could refer to this, the 7 Rs or something, if that's
That's our
what y'all
catch,
like.
that's our catchphrase.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll work on something for the next meeting for that.
Most of the time, you can do like a mission statement and a value statement
Yeah,
for an entity. And I mean, that's what we do at Reese. We've got, we'll do the play on words for our value statement with, dependability and integrity and words like that, for our value statement. We'll have a mission statement that, to us now, our mission statement is private in Reese Services. We don't share that with the public. That's for our employees to see. But the value statement is what we put out, for everyone else to see. So that's, but I like that. That's pretty neat, man.
Very
Okay.
good.
right, well, I have some marching orders here, and then, other than that, we just need a vote on the dates that I've proposed for the first Fridays, so that we can get to work on those.
All right, let's get those in front of us here.
And before we vote on that, is that something where it would be mandatory? I see I'll be out of the country on the first one.
I mean, nothing's mandatory for anyone. The preference would be that you all make as many events as you can. But we also understand that, we got 7 directors with 7 different, lives. Yeah, and, all of council can't be at all events, and all of you all can't be at all events. But as long as we have your support, and as long as you try to be there when you can, that's all that's expected.
Share it on your social media.
Yeah, we'll dock your pay.
Killing me, Brandon.
Okay, so the dates that we have here are going to be June 3rd, July 1st, August 5th, August 2nd, and you want to go out as far as the 9th of October?
That's completely up to you all.
Yeah, October is still very nice here.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Now, the thing about October, I remember now, the reason I didn't do October is Founder's Day is near the beginning of October.
Okay, so we're not going to,
So,
we won't
that's-
talk about October
That's
at
why I
this
didn't do
point.
October.
Okay.
We may have a separate date for that.
Yeah. Now, hopefully next year, we can start these in April and do April through September and really get the nicer months, and then October we'll pick up Founder's Day. Or we might start as early as March for the, your first event could be the 5K if we do that.
Sure.
Now,
But yeah.
we might not be able to do an event in October, like close to Founder's Day, but if we want for, again, another revenue generating idea, we could have a pumpkin patch that's maybe available over a period of time. Again, something that could maybe be associated with the DDA. Not an event per se, maybe it could be, but it could be something that just happens. Those types of things can, we can kind of ad lib as we go along. Oh, that would be a good idea if we could have something out there, something like that.
And I know it's throwing it out there, but even with the Founder's Day, we could have a table there, promoting, the DDA and paraphernalia of handing out or whatever. Okay, so the dates that we're going to vote on here are going to be Friday, June 3rd, July 1st, August 5th, and September 2nd. Do I have a motion to make, put those down as our first Friday dates? Okay, we have
First Friday dates.
first Friday dates, we've got a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Marketing we're gonna have and get printed for that too.
That is correct, yes. Yeah, so, we can certainly do that. We don't have to do that within a meeting, but I would be more than happy to, if we get just a couple of us together or phones, so that we don't have a quorum, so that we can get everybody's input on that and how we want to proceed with that, and, we can discuss that. So, all righty. We good for that, for you?
Yes, sir.
You're still got the floor there regarding the logo.
Right, so also at the last meeting, we discussed the need for branding, and I have sent you all a couple of samples, and then Philip brought this in. Does everybody have a copy of this one?
Yes.
Okay, so you have 3 or 4 samples to consider. I think Philip's done a great job with these. The first one that's got the blue background and the facade of the town hall, that logo was used for the LCI process, and I think it was developed by somebody at Pond, right?
Yeah, Pond and I kind of hashed a combination of things together on that.
Yeah. So I've always liked that logo. I thought it was a great rendering of the building, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of stand out to me. I think some variation of that would be nice, where we add, we have to add something to it that makes it, definitely stand out as DDA. And then I think Philip put together all the others, which look great too. So this is time for you all to just kind of talk about what's been presented to you and provide us with feedback and kind of go from there.
And I said it a little bit at the beginning of the meeting. I'm not a graphic designer. So these are, these are just kind of examples based on other communities that just kind of, I was able to put together as an idea. If you decide that you want either to direct me to come up with something else, like I kind of like how that one is, but I want to change something, or if you kind of want to go off of getting like a graphic designer, that's entirely your prerogative. The other kind of component of the logo was the actual naming, like the brand name for the Downtown Development Authority. 9 times out of 10, it's Downtown X. So for, Tyrone, I put Downtown Tyrone. So whenever we're branding ourselves, instead of the Downtown Development Authority of the Town of Tyrone, it's Downtown Tyrone. But that's entirely up to you as well. If you have like another idea as to what you would want to maybe short name brand the DDA as.
Personally, I like these. I like the second one better out of the 3, but maybe taking that, like Brandon had mentioned, the picture of the town hall, if that could be placed inside of the second one.
I like the shamrock in the second one. I think it's a little more prominent, which to me is signature Tyrone. So I like that. And I know the one above has 2 small shamrocks, but I like the larger. I like the top one for the color.
Yeah.
What about a variation where you took the, sort of the shape and layout of the second one
Mm-hmm.
with the background of the first one, and then put the shamrock as one of the O's in downtown, or something like that?
Yeah, that might work,
Is
yeah.
that doable, Philip?
Yeah, I can come up with something that looks like that.
Okay. If anything's thrown out that's like, okay, we're gonna have to have a professional for that, just let us know.
I like in the second one, if you had the Downtown Development Authority in that upper
Yeah,
one.
yeah, that first one I didn't actually complete. So in the first one, above the, like in between the 2 shamrocks as an
Yep.
arch, it would be Downtown Development Authority, and then at the bottom, it would say the same thing as the other one,
Gotcha,
Town of
yeah.
Tyrone. So yeah, we'd actually include that in there.
Yeah, that'd be better.
Yeah.
Because I like that building better than the 1800
Mhm.
schoolhouse.
Yeah, yeah.
More 3D.
Can you send me what you come up with, Philip?
Yeah.
My wife is actually really gifted. I've had a lot of experience with logos.
Yeah, perfect.
Please, that would be great.
That sounds
Thank you,
actually
Adam.
really, really good. And I'll note that I use town colors for this, so I use the town's color palette. Your call if you want to continue with that, or if you want to choose your own different color palette. But this is based off of the town's, official kind of colors in our branding.
I think, I agree.
Colors.
Is that rendering?
So that's where I'm gonna have to maybe get a little assistance. That is based off of a 3D model, so
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, okay, good.
We can actually get that and rotate it and maybe have it front facing, instead of at a oblique kind of angle. I can definitely come up with a different, that might be a little different. I'll put some time into that.
All right, so it sounds like we still got some work to do, but we also want to make sure that we get like our Facebook page going and stuff like that. So in the interim, do you want me to just go ahead with that and just do something more generic as the logo for that? Or do you want me to go ahead and just use, say, the top one
You
for
can
the
just
temporary?
update that at any time.
Yeah,
Right,
use
that
the
can be
top-
changed
use
at
the
any
top
time.
one
I
for
just
now.
don't want to put it out there without a picture.
Right.
I mean, for that matter, I could just put a picture of Town Hall or a picture of Shamrock Park. But it always, as y'all know, as business owners, it's always better if you can use your logo, to kind of get people used to seeing it. But,
Top one's gonna be best as a place marker if you just need to
Yeah.
use something.
okay,
Because it's very clear what it is,
yeah, okay.
I like the way the downtown really pops out because it's dark on the light, where the one below, it's not,
I think if we're gonna go with a combination of the two, if you're throwing one out there as a placeholder, and then we change it a month from now, I don't think anybody would even notice. I mean,
Agreed.
it's still gonna be a round Tyrone logo, and it's so little on a Facebook page. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
we put it up, something for now and then change it once we finalize it, I think it'll be fine.
Okay. We will do that then. I'll get that Facebook page going this week. Get it advertised. I'll also go ahead and advertise set the date, hold the dates for the, First Fridays as well, so. All right, well, I don't guess we need to vote on any of that then.
All righty, thank you, Brandon, for all of that. The next thing on our agenda is the consideration and approval to accept the seed funding from the Town of Tyrone in the amount of $49,250 and to allocate the $2,000 for the purpose of our special event for the remainder of fiscal year 2022. Now, on this here, I would suggest, as I've spoken to our legal department, that we're going to make 2 votes. One is going to be for the funding from the Town of Tyrone for the $49,250, and then we'll take a second vote on the allocation of the $2,000 for the purpose of special events for the remainder of fiscal year 2022. So, that being said, do we have a motion to accept the seed money from the Town of Tyrone in the amount of $49,250?
Make that motion.
Okay, Mr. Kaufman has made a motion.
A second.
Got it, for a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, so now we have the consideration and the approval to accept, or to allocate, pardon me, the $2,000 out of that $49,250 for the purpose of the special events for the remainder of the fiscal year 2022. So do we have a motion to accept that, to allocate that $2,000?
Motion.
Okay, Mr. Nathan, we have a second? And we have a second here. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Who, where's that money going? Our own checking account, city checking account?
Eventually, we are going to have it where the money will not be commingled. So we are gonna work on setting up a fully separate checking account for the DDA. In a perfect world, you all would have your own accounting. Somebody, you're obviously a separate bank account and all that. While we're fledgling and start up, the town is gonna take that on. But yes, it won't be commingled. And in May, at your next meeting, I'm gonna present to you all the first draft of the budget for next year. We're gonna have to figure out, what our projected revenue for next year is gonna be, and we're gonna have to balance it all out. But yeah, I'll present that first. But yeah, right now, it's gonna be in a separate account, and what's gonna happen is, the treasurer will get a report every month from our staff, and then we will add a treasurer's report to the agenda every month, so that she'll get that ahead of time, and then at some point during the meeting, she'll do a treasurer's report to give you all an update on the funding and keep you up to date on things that way. Okay.
Okay. We have now reached the second public comment period of our meeting. Anybody wishing to speak can step up to the podium. Seeing none, do we have any staff comments?
Just as I said, I'll be presenting a draft budget for next year at the next meeting, just so y'all can. That'll be a time for you all that'll be kind of our budget workshop. I won't be asking you to approve the budget. I'm just asking for your feedback. But going into that, knowing what kind of money you have to work with, $47,250, the bulk of that is probably going to be allocated towards events. But I also wanted to just get ideas right now and just, does anybody have any particular ideas other than events that the DDA is going to work on next year that we're going to need to allocate a portion of that money towards?
I know what I'd like to see. That's certainly curb appeal,
Okay.
I think, I don't know, our downtown, parts of it, like Dolly's, the gas station, I still call it Dolly's. I don't know if it's
That's
Dolly's or not.
It
But
is.
It's just, you look around it, the outside perimeter, it's a dump. And I'm sure there's a lot of old places in Tyrone. They built the old house next to your all's old city hall to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that, who owns that?
Mr. Knowles.
Oh,
So-
still?
Yeah, so, and I understand what you're saying, but we gotta separate what we have control over as a town and as an authority
Yeah.
and what we don't. There are some of those things are, code enforcement type items, and sometimes code enforcement doesn't even solve the problem. You can enforce junk, you can enforce certain things, but there are other things that some places just don't look great. They need paint, they need a,
All
facade
the
improvements.
buildings on my property, Vic Gunnan's property.
So, yeah, so we just have to, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
As far as curb appeal goes, there's a portion of the LCI that addresses that, and we're gonna be looking at streetscapes and things like that. Just last week at the council meeting, council voted to utilize our ARPA funding for, we did the revenue loss option. So nearly $3 million is going back into the town's coffers for government services. And so I imagine a portion of those funds at least will be allocated towards, on the town side, some of that LCI stuff. And one of those things is streetscape improvements. One of the concept drawings that's in the LCI is in front of your building where it's separated, technically there's a portion of your parking lot that's cart path.
Right.
But there's no separation. So there's a really nice looking rendering in there where there are planters down the street. And then, I forget what the other side, but anyway, it separates the parking lot. You have a direct deviation from parking lot to cart path to street, and it's separated by landscaping.
That'd be nice.
And so there's a lot of that we're looking at. Some of it the DDA can do, some of it the town is gonna do. But, another thing that I'm looking at for downtown for some of that funding is I've got Public Works getting pricing now for next budget year. And I don't know where it'll land, but, we generally rent tower lights for events, the generator tower trailers. They're about $15,000 to buy. I don't know what they rent for, but I'm looking at having the town approve installing 6 lights at Shamrock Park, 3 on either side of the field, that we can turn on for events instead of having to rent those light poles. So y'all's events out there that need lighting, you just turn the lights on. Now, most of our events end before dark, but it's at dark when people are leaving and the vendors are packing out and all that you need light. So that's another thing I think that'll make an improvement down there. We want to see trees lining the street between here and your place, all that kind of stuff. But we can certainly add some money in there for that type of stuff. One thing that DDAs do, and it's just kind of a thing, is you all can loan money. Now I'm oversimplifying this, so Allie don't. But you all can do loans to local businesses for facade improvement.
Right.
So that is stuff that, y'all can look at, especially when you have more revenue in. Like, if everything goes well and let's just say the fire station is turned over to the DDA and the DDA sells the fire department. Let's just say you make $250,000, just a number I'm throwing out there. That money comes in, then you all can turn around and you can use that for stuff like that.
Can we, in your budget proposals, can you allocate a portion of what we have or a percentage or whatever for grant money to do those type of improvements?
We could certainly do
And
that.
then you just have, you apply for it and it's a first
Yeah.
come, first,
Of course, I'll have to go over all that with legal and find out how that
Yeah.
works.
Right.
But I know, from, y'all saw it in the training. That's
Right.
just stuff that the DDA can do.
Yeah, a big part of downtown improvements are gonna be coming from town applications for grants.
Right.
So we have, the LCI is really kind of the LCI was like the last planning stage before we can just start executing on all projects, applying for grants, implementation. And so we actually will, in the next year, be able to apply for, they're called transportation improvement projects, TIP funds. It's a state monies, but what happens is that can be allocated to downtown for streetscaping, beautification, multi-use path, improvements, and that, street tree, that makes, that comes in the form of street trees, elevated crosswalks, brick crosswalks, like nice improvements, actually give a downtown feel. What I've seen downtown development authorities do, because they usually have a smaller budget than the town and things like that, they'll do like tactical streetscaping projects. So over a weekend, they'll have a big event like John at your place what I've seen is, we'll do an event where we just put out temporary, like, we'll put hay bales out and bring some, get some trees from like Walmart and put those down. And they'll usually do outdoor seating out where the parking lot was. And then people can see what that feels like. Like a driver can see what it feels like to drive next to a planter with, it's not just a big thing of asphalt, it's, it's separated, and you can figure out your parking and your circulation, and it's just a really quick, easy, cheap kind of project, and there's grant money for that as well. I think it's called Tactical Urbanism is the name of that'll do that, or Better Block Program. They throw block parties where they'll do quick changes to the downtown to see, like, look, this is what it could feel like. And it's really, really inexpensive stuff. They'll use, like I said, hay bales, they'll use tires, whatever they need to do to change the feel. And then that actually incentivizes the town to say, look, this was really successful. We'll put money towards that, or we'll dedicate grant monies that are directed at those types of things to improve that. And then we also have, just for some of our transportation projects, I know the gas station on the corner, we're looking at doing a roundabout at that location, or transportation improvement, intersection improvement. That will probably come with beautification as a part of the final design. So that'll probably get cleaned up, at least in the road frontage.
Well, that could be years away.
Yeah,
But it's definitely
How
something
about-
that we're looking
How
at.
about a nice sign there too, something that, welcome to the downtown
Yeah.
Tyrone.
Yeah, gateway signage.
Yeah.
I actually just applied for, it's actually AARP, for whatever reason, has a big portion of AARP is for livable communities, and they have a lot of grant programs, a lot of resources. I just applied for an AARP grant for downtown wayfinding signage. That might be something that, hopefully, I applied for it last year. We didn't get it, but I'm gonna keep on applying. It can't hurt to keep applying.
Yeah, we're
So-
hoping that the roundabout that we are working on right now at Arrowwood and Palmetto, that in it coming from Coweta, there would be a welcome to Tyrone or something like that in that sign. I've seen some examples of that, and they look really good.
So, hey, just to clarify, the roundabout, I know we've been talking about the one at Arrowwood and Palmetto where the two vacant buildings are. Are you saying there'd be another one where Dolly's store is?
So we had a traffic study done,
Uh-huh.
and yes, the traffic study called for a roundabout there to make that intersection what it needs to be for the next, was it 20 years, 40 years?
Yeah, I think it's 20 years.
Okay. But obviously there are, number one, astronomical cost. You can do a roundabout at a railroad track. I questioned that one
Yeah.
time, and then, I was shown some really interesting setups, but you can do it. It'd be a huge land acquisition because we'd have to realign the intersection. Because if we did it as it sits right now, we're basically buying Dolly's and it goes away. But there is a lot on the other side, and there's a lot that goes into it. So yeah, both of those they came from traffic studies. And both traffic studies recommended, most of your traffic studies nowadays are gonna recommend a roundabout. They've been using them in Europe for years for a reason. Most Americans hate roundabouts, or the idea of them, but they really are safer, and they really do work. They're just expensive to implement.
Well, to John's point, I couldn't agree more, John. Like, welcome to Tyrone, and the first thing you see is the corner building. It's not my favorite spot, but we do shop there daily. I love Jasmine and, all them. They're super folks. I think, though, as we start to improve everything around, it's kind of like inspiring for property owners to join the movement, And my hope is that they'll see what's going on around them and do some improvements themselves.
How do we handle, along with that, solicitation or just donations from in-town businesses or around town businesses? Because they want to help, they want to improve too, because it's going to bring more people to their businesses as well. So I know there's going to be projects that we're going to have, whether it's something from Hanson's, and they say, oh yeah, we'll give you, 50 pallets of brick or whatever it is. How do we handle stuff like that?
Well, I mean, I mean, you all can solicit donations. I mean, you could, if you ask us to go out and, you know, do it, we'll go do it. You know, so we just have to, like I think we discussed it prior, we just have to balance that out, because we already get a lot of donations, be it funding or otherwise, for like Founder's Day. And so, we just want to be real careful not to shoot ourselves in the foot, if, you know, and not have them say, well, I'll give you something for this, but now I can't donate to Founder's Day or something like that, you know? But yeah, you all can certainly go out and do that. You know, but,
And coming up with ways to be able to, if, you know, incentivize a business to do a donation. I know in Fayetteville and in a lot of communities, they'll do flag signage on their lights. Flag sign it'll have like a standard main portion of it that just says Downtown Tyrone, sponsored by a business, with advertising at the bottom that says the business name. And so you could solicit maybe a donation for a sign, and it, you know, of course, covers the cost of the sign, but it's also a good donation for the. So, you know, those are other ideas that I've seen in other communities.
I think it's really important, like what Brandon said, not to overdo it with the businesses that are already helping to fund the Tyrone events. And I can speak for myself. We try to put most of our sponsorship dollars into Tyrone. We've backed away from other communities just to put more here. But, you know, we are limited as a business on what we can give as a whole for the year. So, I mean, you know, I want Reese to be involved with the DDA as much as possible, but, you know, I also have to consider what we're already involved in with, you know, for Tyrone. So, but maybe we can just be considerate of who we're talking to and know if they're already giving or not, and then, you know, if they're not, then sign them up.
yeah, and I think following the models of other DDAs, I think you'll find that, yes, you know, progress is going to invite more progress. It's going to be contagious. So you're going to see other businesses do things. Oh, this guy's cleaning up next to me, I better get my stuff in order, you know? You're going to have that kind of stuff. You're also going to be able to, as we move forward, there's going to be funding that you all are going to be able to get access to that the town can't. So you all can get funding that you can turn around and, you know, give to these local businesses as grants and revolving loans, things like that. So you're going to have revenue in, you know, from events. You're going to have revenue from the sale of property. You're going to have revenue from, you know, like I said, grants and loans that you can get from outside entities that the town can't get its hands on. We just have to get ourselves, to a point where, you know, we're active and we're, you know, people got to see that we're serious first. They got to see that we're here, we're a real presence, we mean business, and that we are getting stuff done. And it's gonna feel slow. It is at first, because there is no money. I mean, you know, $50,000 in the grand scheme of things is not a lot of money. Right. You know, you can do a lot of things as far as events and small loans and things like that, but it's not a ton of money. So, but I think if we use it right in the first year, you really, you know, make an impact as far as getting the name out there and getting people moving, you know, and getting other downtown business. I mean, one of the most important things we're going to do this year is, as a authority, is just helping the other downtown businesses understand that you exist. And that might just be as simple as a couple of us, you know, and I include staff because, you know, we're here, that's what we're here for. Staff members and a couple of you all on select days walking down the sidewalk and going into businesses, introducing ourselves and letting people know what we are, talk about our mission, and tell them how we can help them and how they can help us. And it doesn't have to be financial on their part, but, you know, just help us advertise, be present, you know, those types of things. So this is just a building year. We're a startup. We're a small company, if you will. And we gotta get out there and get things moving, and it's gonna take some legwork and, you know, getting our hands dirty. But I really do think it can be contagious, and people are really gonna start seeing some, you know, once they start seeing the fruits of our efforts, it'll really take off.
I would agree with that. I think as well as was mentioned earlier about getting all of the businesses, and as I said, there's some 40-plus businesses that we have in the downtown area. By listing all of them, I mean, even if we got a donation of $20 or $25 from each person to make up our first sign, it's gonna more than cover the cost of the sign, but it will at least show them that we're putting their name out in front for people to see. And it may be an encouragement for them to get involved and to at least, you know, be supportive of what we're trying to do here. So, thank you for that. Does anybody else? Any board comments? We've kind of incorporated that in with that, which was fine. Do we need, is there a need for executive session? There is not, thank goodness. Okay, good. That being said, if everybody's good, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.